Hello, hello, welcome back to Vlogmas in July, day 17. We are over the halfway hump. We are at the back half of this Vlogmas in July, you guys. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope it's been something fun for you this summer to have a new video in your subscription box every day. I don't know, I just hope you're having fun. I mean, it's a big part of it. Okay, it is about 1 o'clock. August just went down for a nap. He was very tired. I'm feeling we're gonna get a solid nap out of him today, which is great. And I thought I would take today to do something that I promised a couple days ago, where I react to your assumptions about me. I got most of the assumptions, actually all of the assumptions I got really came from Instagram. So if you're unfamiliar, every Vlogmas, like regular Vlogmas that I've done, I have reacted to your assumptions, which is an old YouTube trend where people make assumptions about a creator and the creator basically confirms or denies if they're true with some explanation. And the reason I'm always been intrigued by this, well, one, I think it's, you know, a mutually enjoyable video for all of us, but two, you know, not that there's like a facade or like a fake personality that I put on for the internet, but you obviously only see a small snapshot of my life and who I am. And every time I talk to the camera, I try and keep it natural, but it is a slightly unnatural thing. To you guys, it seems like I'm talking to you, but in reality, I am sitting here in my kitchen alone talking to a camera. So I always feel like there's like a slight disconnect. There has to be between like if you were to meet me in person versus maybe your impression of me on the internet. And so that's why I think I've always been drawn to these assumption videos, because knowing creators in real life and then watching them on their on-screen personas, even if they're pretty closely matched, there's still always like a little bit of a disconnect. And I love to see like what impression you guys take away of me and how I can make a more well-rounded impression of who I really am, if that makes any sense. Okay, enough preamble. I picked 13 assumptions to react to, and I just screenshotted them in the order they were given to me. I didn't reassign any order, so let's just get into it. I thought this one was funny. This was the first assumption made. When you get the munchies, you're savory all the way. Wrong. When I get the munchies, I am sweet all the way. I'm a big chocolate, like I crave chocolate when I'm high. Chocolate or ice cream are really like my top two. I mean, I'll eat whatever snacks are in the house in general. Honestly, and this is gonna sound strange, the number one like food that I eat whilst high is cuties, like little clementines, little oranges. Having citrus while stoned is an incredible experience. Highly recommend if you haven't done that already. But no, so I'm a sweet tooth for sure. Okay, the next assumption. You are so ready for a second baby. Yes and no. Like I'm ready in the sense of like we want it to happen eventually. So like I have that anticipatory feeling. But like I said, we're not gonna try for like another year. So I'm kind of just relishing life with only one child. I'm not like chomping at the bit to get going on child number 2. So it's like I'm ready in that fact that like I can't wait for it to one day happen, but I'm definitely not trying to like rush life to get there, if that makes any sense. So like yes and no. Okay, you're afraid of airplane travel. This is another, I'm gonna say no. I'm not afraid of airplane travel. I'm not afraid of being in an airplane. Like I have no anxiety around turbulence. I'm not a scared flyer. Scared would be the wrong word to use. I'm anxious, but not about like fear of something going wrong in the airplane. I know statistically like flight travel is safer than car travel, and honestly, this is random, but my ex-boyfriend from college was like studying to be an aeronautical engineer, and we were long distance for a while and we used to fly to each other, and I was at that time like a little bit afraid. We were flying a lot, and he like took a long time to explain to me the mechanics of an airplane and like why we're extremely safe up in the sky. And so ever since then, I've like never really had any fear about that. I am an anxious traveler, so it has nothing to do with like being on the airplane, but I'm very anxious about like getting to the airport, getting to the gate. I'm a person that likes to get to the airport like hours in advance, whereas Mario is a person that likes to get to the airport seconds before the door closes. So we've kind of met in the middle, and I've become a less anxious traveler because of him, but I would say I have more anxiety about like the logistics of travel than like any fear of actually flying. Okay, this one was submitted by our beautiful, wonderful Kenzie. She said, you love reading really weird, raunchy books. Dude, Kenzie is all up over me for my weird Goodreads. Yeah, I love reading smutty little books. My thing is that, yes, this is true, but I do like there to be a storyline. Frankly, I've read some books that are just all porn basically and didn't do much for me. Maybe this is like a more like female stereotype, but I need there to be a storyline, a solid storyline in my smut. But yes, I read really weird raunchy books and I have zero shame about it. Zero. I like what I like. Okay, I assume you're way more tired than you let on. True. I like to think that I'm true. I mean, maybe if you're getting this from me, maybe I'm not doing a great job, but I am tired all the time. Well, one of my symptoms of my autoimmune disorder is chronic fatigue. It was actually one of the symptoms that led me to get diagnosed in the first place, because I was like, it can't be normal to be this tired all the time. It's a little bit of like a personal paradox where like I'm fucking exhausted constantly, but my brain, like my body is exhausted, but my brain can't stop moving. Oh my God. Sorry, I have something in my nose. Now my nose is all red. Okay, anyway, like my body is very tired, but my brain can't stop moving. That's what I was saying, right? And honestly, that's why being an editor is a great job for me, because it allows my brain to stay super active while like I physically don't have to do much. But yeah, I have chronic fatigue, and it's not super well managed at the moment. And of course, like you guys don't see the majority of my day, which is being a very active stay-at-home mom. So yeah, I'm tired. I'm so sometimes I am literally too tired to watch TV at night. Like Mary will come home and he'll be like, what do you want to watch? This has been happening the last couple nights. And I'm like, I don't give a shit. Put whatever you want on the TV. We end up watching like golf. He likes to watch golf, or like a video game playthrough that he wants to watch or something, because I'm like too tired to focus on the TV. But I try, that's why I drink a lot of coffee and soda. I try not to, I hit a wall usually like sometime in the afternoon. That's when I have like my next dose of caffeine. But then honestly, by the time August goes to sleep, like I am dragging. And it's crazy because you would think that I would just pass out and have a nice night's sleep, especially because August is a really good sleeper, knock on wood, at the moment. But because I have such chronic insomnia, I still usually only get 4 to 5 hours of sleep. Probably another reason that I'm very tired. I'm working on it, you guys. Yes, this one's probably true. All right. You miss the East Coast and back home. Yes and no. Yes, I was raised in New Hampshire. I mean, I was born in Los Angeles, lived in LA for the first year of my life, but I was raised in New Hampshire. But the thing is that I don't really consider back east, like New Hampshire, New England, home anymore. My parents, they retired in San Diego. They're here. They're like the only family I have besides my extended family, which also lives out here on the West Coast. Like, here's what I'll say. I miss the nostalgia of my childhood, but I don't personally see any world where I move back out east because I don't have family back out there. More of my friends live on the West Coast than the East Coast. I mean, I have friends that live there, but like, moving there would not feel like moving home to me, if that makes any sense. That being said, I had a wonderful, beautiful, like idyllic childhood growing up in New Hampshire, and I miss that. And I know I'm not going to be able to give that to my children just because it's such a different lifestyle and climate and energy right here where I live. And that does make me a little bit sad. That's kind of like what I miss, but there is no recreating that. There just isn't. And I'd rather be closer to my parents. Okay. You sometimes let Mario win a game on purpose. No, never. Mario and I are bloodthirsty, cutthroat, competitive motherfuckers, and we will never let each other win a game. We are typically evenly suited at most board games. If you guys know, like, we like to play a lot of board games. There are certain board games that I'm better at and certain board games that he's better at, and there are some board games that we're equal at, and this is just like known facts. But I don't think ever in the history of our entire time of knowing each other has either one of us ever let the other one win a game. And I think if one of us did, or had an inkling that one of us did, we would be more upset than if we were to have lost, if that makes any sense. Absolutely not. I would never let him win a game. He can win on his own if he deserves it. Okay. I got so intense there for no reason. Okay. You are a YouTube creator, but you don't actually spend much time watching YouTube yourself. This is wrong. This is wrong. I watch a lot of YouTube. I've been watching YouTube since 2008, really, I would say, is probably when I started watching YouTube regularly with Community Channel and Vlog Brothers. Charlie Is So Cool, like back in the day. You know, I've always watched Philip DeFranco for the news, and I now watch like Sierra. Well, I watch Sierra. I also make all of her videos, but like Carrie Dayton, I watch all of her vlogs. I watch a lot of Smosh. Also, I have subscriptions to Second Try for the Try Guys and Dropout TV. I don't know if you guys would consider that YouTube. I kind of do, because I started watching like College Humor and Try Guys on YouTube. But that's like the main source of entertainment. I also like to YouTube recommends me long video essays that I listen to all the time, like in my earpods. No, I think there's something really magical and amazing about new media and YouTube, and I've long time been a YouTube watcher. I also watch a lot of TV, you know? I do both, but I definitely, like, especially during the day, I watch a lot of YouTube. Okay, this person says, I assume you're in a lot of debt due to living in Los Angeles. No, I'm in zero debt. I guess technically I have 2 loans. I have the mortgage on our house and the car note on my car. But I have never in my life been in debt. I've never in my life taken out a loan or taken out a line of credit that I wasn't able to pay back right away. That's one of my biggest pieces of financial advice to young people starting out their credit journey. Like, never, ever, ever spend more than you have. Like, I put a lot of stuff on credit cards for points and stuff for travel, but never have I ever put more on a line of credit than money that I knew was coming in or that I already had. So yeah, I guess technically I have 2 loans, right? My house and my car, but I've never missed a payment. And I have never been in debt. I know I'm really lucky to have never been in debt, and I know it's not always that straightforward, and some people just have to do what they have to do to survive. I've been working in one capacity or another, either a serving job or at the mall or at my camp counselor job, or I worked at a yoga studio when I was in college. I worked at the student union when I was in college. I got a job before I graduated college. I've never not had a job my entire life. And I've been very blessed in my career to make enough money to live the lifestyle that I've always wanted to live. So, I mean, obviously I never say no to no more money, but no, I would, you know, take drastic measures before ever getting myself into debt, just because I know it can be a burden for a lot of people, and it's something that I don't want to bring into my life, especially now that I have a family. Nope, no debt. I don't live in the nicest part of LA, and that's the trade-off. Okay, you're the one planning and reaching out to meet people. This is like a yes and no situation. I think the older I've gotten, the more I've realized that if I'm always the one planning the things and reaching out and making plans, that's not a friendship that I want in my life. And I've set up pretty strong boundaries around those people that I felt like weren't putting equal effort into our friendship. I would say pretty much all of the solid friendships that I have now in my life are people who make equal effort. So yes, I do like to plan things and reach out and make plans and meet people and hang out with people. I'm an extroverted person by nature and I'm very social, but I won't put more energy into a friendship than I'm getting back at this point in my life. And that's something that I've just learned over the last like 15 years. Because I have had friendships where I was putting way more effort in, and it was difficult, honestly, emotionally. And so now that's just like a boundary that I have, and I feel like all of the friendships in my life are so much more genuine and stronger for it. And I feel like I know who actually cares about me because they're actually willing to put in as much work as I am in the friendship, if that makes any sense. So not anymore, but I have been this person in the past. Okay, you're actually a pretty intolerant person to others who have different beliefs and opinions that don't, and then it got cut off. I'm gonna say don't match yours is what they were going for. Card's about to run out, so I might have to change my card in a second. Camera card. In fact, let me just do that right now because this is gonna be a long answer. Hold on. Okay, fresh card. All right. I didn't want to worry about that while I was answering this. All right, I like to think I'm a pretty tolerant person. I think like, okay, here's an example. I'm an atheist. My husband's religious, Catholic. No problem with that. I'm extremely tolerant of people who have different religious beliefs than I do, as long as they're tolerant of me. This is what it comes down to. Same with political opinions, by the way, for the most part. It's a two-way street, right? People have to be genuinely tolerant of my opinions for me to be genuinely tolerant of theirs, and have to be open, just like I am always, to a discussion. There is a limit to that. I'm not open to a discussion of people who are intolerant of me or others, all right? This is the tolerance paradox, which is a thing that I'm gonna like literally Google so I don't get wrong here. So here's what it is. This is the the paradox of tolerance, which is a philosophy theory. And it suggests that unlimited tolerance, if not properly managed, can lead to the demise of the concept of tolerance itself. Essentially, if a society is tolerant of all views, including those that are intolerant, the intolerant views can use this tolerance to undermine and eliminate a tolerant society. So basically, unlimited tolerance, meaning you're tolerant of those who are intolerant of others, eventually leads to an overall intolerant society. You know, I say I'm liberal. I am. I feel like I am. I think that's a good label for me. But here's what I really am. Am I like committed to the Democratic Party of the United States? No, absolutely not. I think, and this is something that I think a lot of people on the other side don't understand, I'm totally willing to step away from the Democratic Party when they don't do things that I like. And I'm totally willing to say if people in power who technically belong to my political party are wrong, that they're wrong. And I think that my views come down to this. everything that I believe in is not dictated by what a politician or a religious leader tells me to believe. Everything that I believe in is about the rights of other human beings. I feel, and I know it's not always good to say this, but I feel like I'm an empathetic person. Frankly, everything that I vote for and believe in comes down to, is it gonna hurt somebody else? I don't believe that as a white person, and I don't believe that as a American, I am guaranteed more rights and freedoms and privileges than anybody else who is not a white person or who is not an American. And I don't like war, I don't like conflict, I don't like deportation of people who, you know, didn't do anything wrong. I don't believe in governing people's rights to their medical choices. I don't believe in governing people's rights to their love life and their marriages. I'm extremely pro-choice. I'm extremely, I don't even know, pro not being fucking homophobic. I think honestly what it comes down to is that it's not about me being intolerant of people who have different beliefs. It's me being unwilling to hear out people who are unwilling to be empathetic towards others. Because if you're tolerant of everybody, then intolerance wins. That's the reality. That being said, if you have a different political opinion than me, or a different religious opinion than me, or a different philosophical opinion about life than me, that doesn't bother me at all. I'm friends with people across the spectrum on everything, but I do have hard boundaries and lines to that. And I don't think that's me being intolerant. I think that's me just protecting myself from people who I feel like they're not courteous to others. And I think that honestly, that's fair. And if you don't think that's fair, I'm sure you're one of the many people who's unsubscribed to me since I've been making a few more liberal statements in my videos, and that's okay. That's all right. I would rather have people follow me who believe in rights for everybody. Oh boy. Okay, let's move on to something totally different. Your toes are not nearly as manicured as your hands. I love this one. It was so random and I fucking love it. Yes, obviously I get lots of manicures. I don't get pedicures. And you'll hopefully never see my feet, because frankly, nothing to write home about. Yes, I don't get pedicures and I do get manicures. And for that reason, this one is true. How many more do I have? Oh, this is the last one. Okay, that's what I thought. All right. You used to get sunburned as a kid and that's why you fake tan as an adult. Yes, right on the money. I still get sunburned from time to time, although I try really hard to put sunscreen on every time I'm outside, or, you know, honestly every day. I have very fair skin, and it's crazy because my parents do not have fair skin at all. They are extremely dark and they tan so easily, and I got some weirdo fucking recessive gene where I have extremely prone to sunburn, fair skin. I look literally skin tone wise, complexion wise, I look nothing like my parents. Like facial feature wise, I look a lot like my parents, but complexion wise, I'm like a little pale, little black sheep in my family. The reason I get spray tans is there is a little bit of like, I just like the look of being tan, but I personally don't get tan. I could spend all day in the sun, and if anything were gonna happen, it would be a sunburn. And I got sunburned a shitload as a kid. A ton, despite my parents' best efforts. I needed so much more sun protection than they need, and so there was like a learning curve there where I got burned a lot. And yeah, I don't know, I like the look of being tan, but there's something I would never personally be able to achieve. And I also try and avoid the sun at all costs. I like to stand in the shade and wear lots of hats and cover myself in sunscreen because I know my body is very sensitive. I also like freckle very easily, I get moles very easily, so I just try and avoid the sun. But I do enjoy the look of being tan, so that's why I do get a lot of spray tans. So this is 100% accurate. Okay, that is everything that I'm going to answer. It's 13 assumptions I reacted to. What do you guys think? I think a lot of these were kind of on the money. Some of them were off. Did you learn anything new about me? Are you surprised by anything I said? I hope not. I hope nothing is like a huge surprise. But I think this is just kind of like a fun new way to get to know me. Tomorrow's vlog is going to be more vloggy. I know I've done a couple of these little sit down ones in a row. So tomorrow's vlog will be a little more vloggy. That being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you oh so much, and I'll see you on the morrow. Bye.